Hello and welcome back to TUTV. I'm Anderson Bell.
And I'm Andres Lynch. We have an exciting show this week.
First up, let's get a short recap of this week's major headlines. Early Saturday morning on February 28th, militaries of the United States and Israel launched strikes on Iran. The strikes, a part of a military operation called Operation Epic Fury, targeted the country's supreme leader and president. In the following hours, it was confirmed that the supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, was killed. U.S. President Donald Trump said their intention was to cause a regime change in the Middle East. This strike has drawn massive criticism from American citizens for several reasons, including Trump's previous promise not to target such a regime change and aggregate polling showing only 21% of Americans supporting the attack. In a statement, Trump implied an unapproved state of war with Iran, stating that, quote, "The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war," end quote.
On Wednesday, students at Will Rogers Middle and High School staged a walkout to protest ICE, but after a fight broke out, campus police used pepper spray on students. For more, we go to Aristotle Orsini.
Will Rogers students walked out of class and met at the football stadium for a student-led protest against immigration and customs enforcement. They walked around, played music, and discussed their discontent with ICE. Everything was peaceful and going well until an altercation broke out between students, leading to campus police using force. The school's official statement says that an altercation occurred between students. After students involved in the altercation did not comply with the request of police officers, pepper spray was deployed briefly. I reached out to a member of the school's staff for more information. According to this staff member, the protest was almost over, and then a high school student called a middle school student who was significantly smaller a racial slur, and that's when the fight started. The staff member also said that the officer who used pepper spray was not one of the school's usual officers. None of us had seen her before. She was a woman. She was definitely from the district. She wasn't the normal officer regularly stationed there, and I also know the majority of the officers. I know most of them, and I've never seen her. I did not observe that officer saying anything before she started spraying. It was not a very contained spray, I felt like, and it hit a lot of kids. Yes, the wind picked it up. That's exactly what happened. Some teachers tried to shield kids. It was so windy, and then many kids were affected. After the incident, at least one student was transported by emergency medical services, and many more suffered intense pain and struggled to see. The school canceled all after-school activities that day. The staff member says the incident is being investigated and that they hope the officer responsible faces disciplinary action or is terminated. This is not the first time a student-led protest at Will Rogers has led to a fight between students, with a similar event occurring just last year. School administrators have not responded to my request for comment. For TUTV, I'm Aristotle Orsini.
On Sunday, February 23rd, the Mexican army killed Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, also known as El Mencho, a man behind many Mexican drug operations and the Jalisco New Generation cartel. His killing was significant for relations between the U.S. and Mexico, as he was one of the U.S.'s most wanted fugitives. The Trump administration had also threatened Mexico with tariffs and military intervention if no significant progress was made to deal with Mexico's cartel situation. Following El Mencho's death, authorities are working to deal with the power vacuum left as soon as possible, before cartel members resort to violence in response.
Last week, on February 24th, President Donald Trump gave the longest State of the Union address in U.S. history, featuring over an hour and 40 minutes of honoring various American achievements and speaking about the economy, immigration, and global relations. Several notable incidents occurred during the address, including Representative Al Green being removed from the House chamber after Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin attempted to take his sign reading, "Black people aren't apes." Additionally, Representative Ilhan Omar yelled, quote, "You have killed Americans," in reference to Renee Good and Alex Preddy's killings by ICE agents. Trump also honored the U.S. men's hockey team for earning gold in the 2026 Winter Olympics.
Well, lots of stuff going on in the world broadly, in the U.S. here as well. Andres, did you catch the State of the Union address?
I did. I was watching it live, and I think one thing that was a little concerning to me personally was just how it didn't really discuss the future too much, and it was a little too celebratory and focusing on the past.
Yeah, I kind of had a takeaway that was a little bit similar to that. But no, it was entertaining to watch at the very least, very long as well. Again, like you said, the longest in U.S. history by, like 5 minutes, I believe. But it was definitely entertaining. It was definitely a thing to watch. But yeah, Now, suppose let's get into more campus events.
Plus, a report on last week's SGA meeting. But first, let's go to Carter Reed for the weather forecast.
Hi, and welcome back to TUTV Weather. I'm Carter Reed. This week, we'll finally see spring returning in force, and as any Okie knows, that also means the return of severe storms. We have an incredibly active pattern ahead this week with multiple consecutive days of rain and strong storms expected. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at that. Starting off with Wednesday, we can see this area highlighted by the Storm Prediction Center. That's a level 2 out of 5 slight risk for the Arklatex region up into the western Ohio River Valley. A fairly stationary baroclinic boundary is expected to set up, which is a sharp gradient between warm and cool air. That's going to establish itself diagonally across the northern extent of that yellow region, allowing storms to form, then track northeast out of that area. Tulsa can expect rain and scattered storms early Wednesday morning, but the worst of those severe storms as well as the tornado risk should stay to our south as we move into Wednesday night. Thursday, we'll see a similar storm threat in terms of composition, with the risk area shifted ever so slightly further into western Oklahoma. These storms, while strong, are expected to remain well to the west of the Tulsa area. Looking ahead now to Friday, which is fast shaping up to be the strongest storm of this pattern, the SPC has gone ahead and issued a 30% chance of severe thunderstorms within that orange-shaded region, and that includes both the Tulsa and Oklahoma City metro areas. The past week has seen continuous advection of both warm air and moisture up from the Gulf of Mexico, providing ample atmospheric instability. This instability will be met with a high-amplitude trough moving across the plains Friday. Storms forming in this environment are expected to take on supercell characteristics with the risk of damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes all present. Jumping now to our 7-day forecast, we'll be seeing a slight dip in temperature tomorrow to around 60, warming up to around 77 degrees by this Friday. Temps dipping once more on Saturday before finally climbing into the low 80s by early next week. Now, there's a lot of storms coming up here, and I haven't had a chance to fully break all of them down, so be sure to check out the TUTV Instagram where I'll be going into more detail. With that, this has been your TUTV Weather.
Hold on. Britannia, what are you doing here?
I'm walking dramatically.
No. You're supposed to stay with the car. We went over this.
Oh, right. I remember that now. I'll just go. Good luck, lads.
Get caught.
Just stay cool, man. Stick to the plan.
But we could get in major trouble if we get caught.
Look, we have to do this. Think about your little sister. We gotta pay for operation.
But the insurance is paying for our operation.
Well, we've come this far.
Next. How can I help you?
Yes, I'd like to cash this check, please.
I don't understand.
Your move.
Security.
Shady. All you other Slim Shadys are just imitating, so won't the real Slim Shady please stand up? Please stand up. Please stand up.
Hello and welcome back. That short film was a project produced by TU Media and Communications major,
Yeah, and
Terral Altman, who now joins us in the studio
Terral
today.
Alton, and
Alton, sorry.
that's okay. And wow, what a treat! I haven't seen that short film in 10 years, and to know that the TUTV media department created that and we did it together, like, it's such a good laugh and such nostalgia to how far I've come. Like, I'm a SAG actor now, making feature films in Hollywood. So to come from a short film at TUTV to a SAG film in Hollywood is just a dream come true.
How did you first get involved with TUTV, and how did the work there kind of prepare you for, post-graduation and jumping off? Because I believe you also got, work at Fox 23.
Fox 23, right? Because of the work at TUTV, I was looking for something to do, something extracurricular. I strive to be a leader, so I came to TUTV. I talked to David Moncrief, God bless his soul, what an amazing man. He taught me everything I know about running a news studio, and he got me in here as the news anchor. He got me in here as the news producer. So I was writing the news, I was anchoring the news, and because of this job, I became friends with Stephen McDonald. He was so impressed with my work here that his boss at Fox 23 was like, do you have any students at TUTV that would do good at this job? I worked there for 3 years. My last semester here, last couple months on the job, they let me off for like 2 weeks to go film this amazing print job in Austin, Texas. And when I got back, I was like, I think I want to be an actor. I can do this. I'm going to go to LA. I want to put my 2 weeks in everywhere. I want to go to Los Angeles, and I want to pursue filmmaking. It took me 10 years, but I can now say I'm the lead actor of a Screen Actors feature film, winning awards worldwide, globally. I'm so proud of myself.
So do you want to talk a little bit, talk a little bit more about how you, film LA Jesus, screening at Circle Cinema?
So next week, March 7th, we have a screening, a special charity screening set up at Circle Cinema, and 25% of all ticket proceeds, and there will be a donation booth, they all go to the Heard homeless movement in Tulsa. So they do a lot of things like laundry for the homeless, cell phone charging, giving them snacks, giving them hygiene, stuff to brush your teeth, and a plethora of other things. Like, the list goes on. I really with the screening, of course I'm a Tulsa local, so it means a lot to me, but I really, really want to help the homeless community and spread the love of God with this movie.
What's so special about TU that it was able to contribute to you getting these roles, getting out to LA, and being able to make the Hollywood dream come true?
I honestly think it was the knowledge this school has to offer and the connections that this school has to offer. I honestly don't think I could have gotten as far as I did in the industry in Hollywood without knowing whatever TU taught me about the film industry and the media industry. I wouldn't have known that. And then not only the connections, we have an alumni program. So when I got out there, alumni wanted to talk to me about my acting journey. When I got back, people that I was students with are professors, and now I can share my story.
One last question. What was your favorite part about TUTV? If you can pick just one. I know there's
so many memories. I would have to say it was Chad and Corey and Anna. We were all from TUTV, but we had a film crew, and every other weekend it was called TUTV Summer Shorts, and I think you could find it on DVD somewhere around here.
I'm sure we got it saved somewhere on a computer in the back.
And we spent the whole summer as a group of kids at TU making short films, and we just laughed and loved each other, and we had our little crafties and our little rentals from TU, but we were making short films together, and honestly that was my most favorite memory from TUTV.
No, that's awesome. Well, Terral, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
I look forward to going and seeing LA Jesus in Circle Cinema.
Yeah, please
March
do.
7th.
March 7th, it's at Circle Cinema. You can go to the LA Jesus Movie Instagram, and the tickets are, you can find the links for the tickets there.
All right, absolutely. Well, I'm going to send it back to the desk. Thank you so much for joining us. See you next time.
Hello, and welcome back to TUTV. I'm Reese Wood.
And I'm Luke Montemare, and we've got a lot of exciting events, so let's get into it.
Tomorrow, take a break and treat yourself at Snacks and Sips, a come-and-go event for students, faculty, and staff hosted by the Kendall College of Arts and Sciences. Stop by the Terral Hall lobby anytime between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. for a cup of coffee, snacks, and other refreshments.
On Friday, a panel of experts will discuss the impact of AI on the future of entertainment. Panelists include Kyle Nyquist, former copyright and licensing manager at Music Reports, Ali Shaw, music director at Perry Broadcasting's 105.3 K-Jams, and Ben Dorner, director of photography and film at Idea Ranch. The event will be moderated by TU student Luke Bazzelli. Together, they will discuss how AI is influencing copyright and licensing, radio curation and audience trust, and the evolution of visual storytelling and creative ownership across platforms.
The Black Alumni Council hosted a networking event last week. For more, we go to TUTV's Heaven Harris.
Last week, the University of Tulsa's Black Alumni Leadership Council hosted their annual networking event in honor of Black History Month. This event welcomed TU students and alumni alike, where students like Trey and Nicolette got to mingle with Black alumni.
My name is Trey McAdoo. I was at the Black Alumni Leadership Council networking event, and I think my favorite part was the wide range of faces and welcoming people, and I got a lot of new connections tonight.
Hi, my name is Nicolette Morris. I'm a part of the ABC Executive Board. We just had our BALK networking event. It was so fun. I got to meet a lot of amazing people. Thank you.
Be sure to follow the university's social media pages so you can be aware of events like these and many more to come. For TUTV, I'm Heaven Harris.
The Lorton Performance Center was alight last week with 2 award-winning filmmakers speaking to the TU and Tulsa community. Legendary cinematographer Sir Roger Deakins, joined by his married creative partner James Ellis Deakins, held a Q&A conversation during a week of events promoting his new photography exhibit at the Hulett Collection that was unveiled last weekend. Plus, Oscar winner and current NBC's head of documentary Molly O'Brien took over the LPC for the latest edition to TU's presidential lecture series. TUTV reporter Michael Searles provided his insights from both nights.
On February 25th, independent filmmakers, industry professionals, and film students descended on the LPC with questions for the filmmaking duo of Team Deakins. The night was hosted by co-founder of the Tulsa Film Collective, Charles Elmore, while a TFC-affiliated video crew also taped the event.
The meaning of a white horse, the symbolism of a white horse. So I was always skeptical about these things. So on the podcast we asked Andre, he said, well, why did you have a white horse? He said, well, if it had been a black horse, it was on a black road, a tarmac road, so you wouldn't have seen it, would you?
A handful of film studies students volunteered to assist with the Q&A, running microphones to audience members across the Gusman Auditorium. The night was sponsored and organized by the TU Film Studies Department, Hulett Collection, and the Tulsa Film Collective, and closed with a book signing courtesy of Magic City Books. The next day, many local professionals and film students returned for another Q&A event, featuring documentary filmmaker Molly O'Brien, and hosted by film professor Jeff Van Hanken. The daughter of former TU professor Darcy O'Brien spoke primarily about The Only Girl in the Orchestra, her Oscar-winning documentary film exploring her aunt Orrin O'Brien, who was New York Philharmonic's first female musician.
But that's really what the film is about for me, is that learning how to be part of an ensemble and enjoy it and enjoy what everybody else is doing.
Supplemented with trailers and clips from her previous work, O'Brien detailed her career's journey, beginning with early post-production roles to now overseeing all of NBC's documentary productions. Her visit was sponsored by the Office of the Provost and the Darcy O'Brien Endowed Chair, and included a masterclass during Van Hanken's Film Studies class earlier on Thursday. For TUTV, I'm Michael Searles.
That panel about the future of AI and entertainment sounds like it's going to be an interesting one. You know, this is kind of part of the entertainment industry, what we're doing right now, so it's a little bit daunting. What do you think about that, Luke?
Yeah, I mean, I would certainly hope that we can still be doing stuff like this, but I mean, further beyond just this, it would be interesting to see how AI is going to affect the entertainment industry at large.
I agree. Coming up, coverage of last week's jazz concert.
But first, we go to Andrew Griffin for sports.
Thank you, Luke. Tulsa basketball pushed through a pivotal late February stretch as both the men's and women's teams continued conference play with a mix of home and road matchups. For the men, the run began on February 22nd when they hosted UTSA in a dominant performance that saw the Golden Hurricane winning 100-74. Tulsa played complementary basketball and showed strong offensive stretches and showed dominance while being at the Reynolds Center. 4 days later, the Hurricane traveled to Tulane on February 25th, battling a tough road team in Tulane. They continued their completeness as a team, winning in dominant fashion once again with a 90-56 victory. The men now look ahead to early March to the conference tournament with an opportunity to get back to the big dance for the first time since 2016. On the women's side, Tulsa opened their final regular season push at home on February 20th against University of Alabama, Birmingham. This game was a constant tug of war, seeing both teams battling throughout. But in the end, Tulsa came out victorious with a 59-55 victory. They remained at the Reynolds Center on February 24th with a matchup of their own against Tulane, a game that featured long stretches of back-and-forth play before the Golden Hurricane stormed away late in the second half with a 65-46 victory. Tulsa closed the month of February on the road at Rice on February 28th, where the Golden Hurricane defense honestly couldn't buy a stop, ending with Rice winning in an uneventful 105-65 contest. The women will look to regroup this Saturday at the Reynolds Center as they take on Eastern Carolina in another crucial conference matchup. Both teams now enter March looking to reset and capitalize on the final stretch of the regular season. With seeding implications on the line and every possession growing more meaningful, Tulsa aims to turn competitive outings into closing time results as the postseason approaches. For sports, I'm Andrew Griffin. Back to the desk.
Hello everyone and welcome back to SGA Weekly. I'm your host Hendrik Dubois. Last Tuesday, after much questioning towards and debate over a controversial student organization, the Faithful Observer, the org did not get chartered after over an hour of discussion and was instead sent back to committee in order to be discussed further and given more guidance on how to become chartered. Additionally, Dr. Jennifer Airy, the provost of the university, came by to deliver her report and answer senators' questions that they may have for her. The following are important things that she mentioned during the meeting. New programs will be sent to the board for approval, including an applied AI degree in the College of Engineering, a new International Health and Languages program, a study of analytics and sports degree, and a new Center for Environmental Studies degrees with new Environmental Science and Environmental Humanities degrees, in addition to the already existing Environmental Policy degree. Turk student stipends will remain the same over the summer. Starting next year, new students will be given a book fee, moving away from the popular free textbook program. New students can opt in to a $25 per credit hour fee to pay for textbooks. Harvey's parent company, Blackboard, has gone bankrupt, and the administration is evaluating a move to Canvas, a cheaper alternative. And finally, the university has a 3-year plan to get to budget neutrality and a 5-year plan to get to prosperity. Next, there's a proposal to put a bar in the student union. If this proposal were to go through, it would most likely be placed in the faculty lounge, but still accessible to students over 21 years of age. Finally, the old SGA Chief of Staff, Jake Staub, retired from his position 2 weeks ago, causing a need for a new person to step up and fill that role. Senator Parker Wheeler was nominated to fill that role. He was unanimously confirmed and immediately assumed the position. That's all for now, folks. Senate isn't going to be meeting this week, so next week there will be no SGA update, but stay tuned for the following weeks for updates on our Student Government Association. For TUTV, I'm Hendrik Dubois.
Hi, welcome back to TUTV. I'm Angelica Ortiz.
And I'm Bruce Bigler. Now, Angelica, this is a fascinating point in the semester because we're close enough to spring break where we're excited, but far enough away that we're still dreading a lot of our time on campus. So here to bring you guys the most exciting events going on campus to keep it lively, we're going to be telling you all the most exciting things going on.
Absolutely. Now let's get into more campus events.
On Friday, Tulsa Jazz hosted the University of Miami's Frost School of Music, Jazz Orchestra, and Frost Extensions, a vocal jazz ensemble. They were joined by the Tulsa Focus Jazz Combo. Frost Extensions is a multiple downbeat, award-winning vocal jazz ensemble directed by Dr. Kate Reed. They received top honors at the 2015 Monterey Next Generation Jazz Festival. The Frost Jazz Orchestra is a Grammy-nominated jazz big band directed by Dr. John DeVersa. The Tulsa Focus Combo is a 6-piece student jazz combo directed by Tulsa Coordinator of Jazz Studies, Professor Nick Mancini. The band consists of TU students Sean Roberts on tenor sax, Cole Huggins on trumpet, Peter Chesser on guitar, Cameron Stoltz on piano, Mason Chow on bass, and Sam Bostic on drums.
In more musical news, the Association for Black Collegians hosted the final event for their Black History Month celebration on Friday, a lip sync battle. TUTV reporter Angelica Ortiz brings us more.
On Friday, February 27th, the Association of Black Collegians hosted a lip sync battle inside of the L&G Adelson Auditorium located inside of Terral Alton. With TUTV, this is Angelica Ortiz.
Last week, Jolt hosted a special panel for Black History Month. Heaven Harris brings us more.
Last week, the University of Tulsa's Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, also known as JOLT, hosted their Black History Month guest speaker panel workshop, where JOLT fellows and business students got the opportunity to hear from working professionals in the field firsthand about their experiences starting their own business. Sophia and Zanila were some of the students present this evening.
Hi, my name is Sophia and I'm a JOLT fellow, and I really enjoyed today's speaker series because I feel like they really spoke truly from their heart, and they covered a bunch of topics, anything from how to start, how to make money, how to get clients, and then how to deal with employees and people.
Hi, my name is Nyla Gaither, and my favorite part of today's series was hearing advice about how to stay true to yourself while also starting your own business, and yeah.
The speakers of this workshop left a valuable impression on the students and those who were able to attend this evening workshop. For those of you interested in opportunities like this, follow JOLT on Instagram at JOLT Center. For TUTV, I'm Heaven Harris.
At JOLT, they spoke from the heart. Now you'll have to pardon Neil Young's heart in Anderson's Music Minute. Take it away, Anderson.
Thanks, and welcome back to Anderson's Music Minute. Today's album is Zuma, Neil Young's 1975 album with his band Crazy Horse. Now, this is the first album with Crazy Horse since they took a hiatus in 1972 due to the death of one of the members, and it largely continues the hard rock and country rock sound that Young established in Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere in 1969. Furthermore, this album was written shortly after his breakup with his girlfriend Carrie Snodgrass, and this emotional framing influenced many lyrics and songs throughout the album. Now, the standout and my personal favorite of the album is Cortez the Killer. It's a 7-minute long, distortion-drenched jam that just keeps going on, and I love it. The live version on the album Weld absolutely rips, and it's one of my favorites. Now, some other standouts on the album are Pardon My Heart and Danger Bird. Danger Bird is similar to Cortez in that it's a very guitar-driven, distortion-heavy track, and Pardon My Heart goes in the other direction that we see more from Neil Young now, emotional, moody, acoustic ballad. And again, you can tell this is written right after a breakup. It gives it a raw, almost unpolished, emotional sound, and largely, that's a positive. However, it does take away from the album in some cases. There's one track on there called Stupid Girl, and that one is a bit lyrically heavy-handed and just over the top in terms of Neil Young just having gotten broke up with. Overall, this album is a great listen, and there's just a few things that stop it from being elite, so I'm giving it a strong 7.8 out of 10.
Well, Angelica, lots of wonderful stuff going on campus. I know I'm looking forward to the Jazz Festival. I had the pleasure of taking Professor Nick Mancini for Intro to Jazz last semester, and he completely changed my view of jazz. I'm the biggest fan now. What kind of musical experience you got?
So I actually used to play the violin for a couple of years. From sixth grade to freshman year, I played the violin. But other than that, I don't really touch instruments anymore.
It's a canon event. Your mom makes you play an instrument for a few years and then you move on. But that's all for us today at TUTV. Be sure to tune in next week for more exciting events and updates.